What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video today, and in this video I'm going to be taking a look at the NG Models January 2023 releases. Our first official new release for the 2023 calendar year, even though we are still within 2022, but this is being planned out for January of 2023. Now, I'm going to forego the hints section this month, but I'll go ahead and pop up on your screen of what the hints were, and then also what my predictions were regarding the hints. So feel free to pause the video when you watch this back after the premiere and take a look at those predictions and try to compare them to see if I'm correct. And I think that's what I'm going to do going forward for these NG models release videos, because it takes up quite a bit of time to put them all together. And I figured the main focus of these videos is supposed to be the releases, not necessarily the hints and my predictions. So I'll go ahead and kind of forego its own separate segment in the videos. So we did have a bit of a smaller set this month due to Chinese New Year, and I kind of wish that these sets were smaller to begin with and not so large with like 30 models plus in some sets. So I really hope that they would take some feedback and be like, oh yeah, we can probably reduce our capacity a little bit because we're making too much stuff, and there is a much higher chance that things are going to break in terms of QC and among other details and all that. And I just don't want that kind of stuff to happen to NGs. So, all right, first release that we have is 76013, and this one is a WestJet 737-600, just like how I predicted. This one has the maple leaf sticker on it, which is the newer version of the old livery. 58158, we have a Gemini 737-800 in the Sky Team livery. So kind of an interesting choice that they went with. I guess like an Air China flower livery, like the golden Pinoy livery, I think is what I guessed, if I remember correctly. And then we have 88001. Now, this is a new mold, I should mention. This is the 737 MAX 8 mold, which they announced about a week ago now. And they do have both that and the MAX 9, which are going to go into production here starting in 2023. And this is their first release with the MAX 8 mold. And it is the Desert Gold MAX 8. And first thing I have to kind of point out, the color looks very mustardy, just kind of based off an initial glance. But again, this is the CGI image, so it could very well be different on the actual model. But I don't know. So just taking an initial glance on some images that I can find on Google, and there's quite a bit of discrepancy in how the color appears based on like the lighting conditions. So if you do get more like a golden hour lighting, the color kind of appears brighter in some cases. And then if you get it in some like darker lighting, then it appears a little bit darker than anticipated. So I guess it really depends on the lighting. So we'll have to see how that model comes out before I go ahead and buy it, because I know the NG mold, it looked good from a glance, but I mean, I would still try to at least wait for Gemini, see what they will do with that. And plus, with the Canyon Blue Max also in service, I would prefer to have both from the same manufacturer, just so there isn't that discrepancy between manufacturers. 79007 is the Alaska honoring those who serve 739. So I already have the 800 and the Embraer 175. I don't think it's necessary for me personally to add the 739, but I'm sure this will be a good model for those that want another HTWS model. Then we have a 777-300 up next, 73023, and that is the Garuda Indonesia 777-300. I guess the retro livery. This one looks to be the mask livery, it looks like. It just says wear masks colors, so it did say something different on the plane, but that might be what it translates into. 55093 is the Lufthansa 7879, registration Delta-Alpha Bravo Papa Delta, which is one of their newer 7879s that they're going to get here pretty soon. Named Frankfurt am Main is what it looks like. 55097 is a Scoot 7879, a regular livery like I predicted, and it looks really solid right here. They've done 2 Scoots already, and both of them were in special liveries. And then 15005 is an Air France A320 with sharklets, also just what I predicted. So this has the updated titles, as you can tell, much larger compared to the previous iteration of this livery. Otherwise, nothing is unchanged. 13068 is, wow, I can't believe I got this one right. So Air China CFM A321 right here. So they did an IAE version a little while back, but now this is their CFM release that they're doing, since Air China has a couple of those in their fleet as well. 39035, we do have an Air China A350-900. I guess China Southern on this one, but nice to see an Air China release, so Air China getting a lot of attention in this release set. 21022, we do have this Comac ARJ21-700, and this has the little black and yellow circles in there. You can kind of see it there with the black and yellow divided into those quarters. It's kind of like what you see when you're watching like a crash test video for like a vehicle or something. They have these painted on there. That's kind of what it reminds me of. So just like one of those test livery Comac planes. And then here we have another Comac C919, this one operated by Comac themselves when they were doing flight testing. So this is Bravo-001 Juliet. And then our last release, 22015, it looks like it's another PLA Air Force Jean Y-20. And that is everything for this release. So a little bit smaller here, we have about 13-ish releases in total compared to the 20-something that December 2022 had. Again, I don't know what their deal is with doing these big releases, because I've noticed that QC has definitely taken a toll on NG with the NG models because of these massive amount of models that they're making. So I don't know what is going on with that and why they're making so many more releases. It could very well be because they have a much bigger factory and thus they have more capacity and they're wanting to use all of that capacity as best as possible, which is fair game. But I think if their QC can't necessarily keep up, then I think it would be time to downsize on this release, on some releases a little bit. So I'm hoping that this release, which is being downsized because of Chinese New Year again, I would hope that this would give them some time to catch up on QC on previous releases, just so that they don't get overwhelmed when they go back to doing, say, 20, 25, 30-plus model releases again, starting in February and moving onward, unless they will wait a little bit for the Chinese New Year holiday. So we'll see how that goes. So with that being said, that is the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.